I'm building a full marketing business from the ground up, from scratch, with no revenue, no portfolio, just myself and my skill levels. How am I doing it? Well, the first thing I need to do is I got to figure out what actions I got to take. Now, if you're in this boat of you're just starting out, don't do what I did. And so what I did is I waited 2 years before I actually took very many actions. And the reason I did that is because I had to do a lot of research, so I thought, and I had to reach a certain technical skill level, so I thought, before I could start. What I didn't realize is you don't actually know what actions to take until you actually start taking the actions. And so what that means is you gasp, you fail. You start taking the actions you think you need to take, and they're the wrong actions, and you actually find out. And so if you're just starting out, you need to start with the actions you think you need to take. And if you're wrong, you're wrong, and you know. Instead of waiting sometimes years to actually figure out you're doing the wrong thing, it's better to just start. And so what I'm doing is I put my actions into two buckets. As I move further along, I might reorganize it, but I put my actions into two buckets: product and leads or attention. Why do I do that? Well, every business has a product. It's kind of obvious, chiropractor, the product is their service of, adjusting people's backs, plumber that fixes pipes and whatnot, electricians, do wiring to turn the lights on. Every business has a product, pretty obvious. Leads and attention just connect customers or potential customers to that product. And so you need both as a business, because you might have a great product, but if no one knows about it, you're not going to sell it. And so, it'll just be your product, and that's it. And so if you're a business starting out, you need to be really good at refining your product, but you also need to be really good at getting leads or getting attention to show people how great your product is. And so those are the two buckets that I put my actions in. Now, I don't leave it at that and just kind of willy-nilly hope for the best. I have specific things that I do every day, items you might put under a checklist that I do consistently. And why is that important? Well, if you have a goal, my goal is to have a profitable business. If you have a goal of starting a business or, fitness, losing weight, gaining weight, whatever, you need to not just have this broad tent for your actions. You need to dissect it into repeatable things that you can do every day. In other words, you need to build a habit of actions. And so why is that important? Why can't I just do whatever? Because honestly, starting a business is hard. Losing weight is hard. Gaining or bulking up is hard. Any big goal is hard. And the best or the fun part, which is the beginning, it's easy to keep going. Because you're learning, you're researching, you're like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. But once you figure out what to actually do, it's the same thing every day. And it's the only way to get better. If you're trying to bulk up, if you're trying to get stronger, you're lifting the same weights, but every time you just up it half a pound or 1 pound. You're using the same machines. You just up the weight. Same way in business. You need to be doing the same things, but you need to be getting better every day. And so the more you do it, the more reps you put in every day, the more you're going to get better, and the more your product's gonna be awesome, and the more people are going to see your product. And so what kind of action items am I taking in my business for product, what I'm selling, and leads or attention, how people know what I'm selling? Well, Right now I'm starting at 0, or you could say maybe point 0.1 if you're thinking 0 to 100 being the limit. I'm at the very beginning. And so, like I stated before, I don't have a portfolio. I don't have very much revenue coming in. What I do have, though, is I have time. And so what I'm doing with my time is I'm trying to work on the product. Well, the product is my skill level. What I use is I use a tool called GoHighLevel, or just High Level, for my business, and not sponsored, not sponsored by the way. But what you could do in GoHighLevel is you can make websites, you could high quality websites. You can make landing pages, funnels, payment processing. You could do email campaigns. You could do SMS. You pretty much everything digitally that you'd want a business to do. GoHighLevel does it. And so what I'm trying to do is, up my skill level and GoHighLevel for my business, so that I can offer other businesses that same skill level. This brings up another question. Well, if you're at point 0.1, Jonathan, how are you going to sell that to businesses? And you might have a business as well where you're starting out, and you might have the same question. Well, how am I going to sell someone? How is someone going to want to buy my thing if I've never done it before? Well, you have to do it before. You have to have a way to do it, to have stack proof to show people you're worth, what you're charging them. And so what I'm doing is under product, right? What I'm doing is, well, first I'm the product. My business is the product. So my business is actually going to be proof, hopefully, that what I'm selling works. Because what I'm doing for my business, pretty much any business, it can be done and should be done. That's just, marketing. And so that's my product. And so I'm working on my business, getting into GoHighLevel, promoting myself, working on the automation part. But there's another thing that you can do too. Besides just working on yourself, working on your business, you can partner with other businesses. And you might ask, well, how are you going to charge money for that? Well, the answer is you don't, at least not right away. What you do is you explain to them, and maybe you don't even have to explain to them, but you say, hey, I'm just starting out. I don't have the portfolio to back me up. I don't have the stack of proof. What I do have is I have time. And that time is something you don't have as a business owner. If anyone listening as a business owner, you understand time is very valuable currency. You don't have time if you're a business owner. And so that's what you have to sell right now is your time. And you do have more skill level than they do. And so you might not even realize it, but if you're starting a business in a certain area, I'm starting it in marketing and automation. I've been, doing this stuff for years without actually selling it. And so maybe you're a chiropractor. Well, you went to school for it, so you can charge for it. But maybe you're getting started in software development, and you have the skills behind to back it up, but you don't have the portfolio. And so what you could do is you could say, I'll start for free. I'll start for free, and I don't get paid until you get paid, or until you get results. And so you, rather than charging them a subscription or a static price, you charge them based on the results. And what that does is, well, number one, it allows you to have a playground to play with. You can have a playground without any risk to them or you, because they're paying you nothing or little to get started. And you're using your time, but you're getting better. And you're building up a portfolio for your next customer. And so, what that does is, you get better. And you can begin to be able to stack that proof so you can charge higher prices. And so, you could try to charge higher prices if you have the skill level to do that. I'm getting there. But if you don't have the sales, which is something we're not going to talk about here, if you don't have the sales skills, then it's going to be really hard to charge money or a lot of money. And so that's what you can do, is you can charge per result versus a static price or subscription. If you can get someone, whether it's a friend or someone you know, where you can learn well helping their business out, you can be able to stack your skills easier. Otherwise, you end up in the same boat as me, where I try to just learn on my own without practicing on my business or someone else's business, and you just don't start. And so you want to start. And so that's a good way to do it. Second, we have products. Next, you have leads or attention. Now, it's a little different with marketing because attention or leads is my product. But if you're not in marketing, this still applies to you too. And so what am I doing to get attention or leads? Well, if you're watching this video, you're seeing what I'm doing. I'm making content. I'm making content to social media, to YouTube, to Instagram, to Facebook. You want to it's free attention, There's paid ads, there's all that, but to get started on social media, it's totally free. It's insane. And you can make one video and it instantly go viral. And so if you're not utilizing social media, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, I'm probably missing some, but your own website, do you have a web blog? I'm going to be setting up a website blog on my website pretty soon. Can people find you on Google? All these things. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to post once a week, a long form video like this. And then I'm using a tool called Opus Clip. I know it's called Opus, but I think it's Opus Clip. And what it does is it's an AI tool. You pay $15 a month. You get 150 minutes a month that you can plug video into a month. And what it does is it uses AI to block your long form video like this one into, or maybe you're watching this as a short, into a short. So for YouTube shorts, for Instagram shorts, for TikTok, and from an 8-minute video, you can get 12 shorts. And so you can post twice a day, as well as one long form content a week. And so that's what I'm doing weekly, or at least trying to get attention. And this is free attention. All it takes is your time. And so that's what I'm doing. Another thing I'm doing is I'm doing direct outreach. Direct outreach, you can do this a number of ways. You can do cold calling, where you just have a list of numbers and names and you just dial them up and say, hey, my name is Jonathan and I'm from such and such, and you have your pitch. Another thing to do is email, or another is social media direct messaging. There's all these channels you could use to one-on-one direct message. And so what I'm doing is I'm focusing on email marketing. And so I have an email list, and I might talk about this later, but I have an email list that I got that's public. I compiled it myself with business name, email, etc. And I'm just emailing people. And I'm trying to do 20 direct messages per day, direct emails a day. And over time, I'll probably automate that. But I'm doing 20 emails per day. And so again, we're talking about action items of consistent things you can do every day to get a result. And whenever you have a goal, you got to have this. You got to have consistent steps that you do every day. Because if you want to reach a big goal, it's all about the little consistent things, the boring work to reach the next step. And so I'm doing 20 emails right now. Later on, I might do 20 emails plus 5 to 10 cold calls a day. That might be the next step. And so wherever you are, you need to find what are the action steps that I need to take every day, and just do them. Check the boxes. And so just to reiterate, we got product and we got attention/leads. What I'm doing is right now the product is my skills. So I'm working on my skills in my business to get better every day. And then on the leads part, or the attention part, I'm first of all making content like you're seeing now, using AI tools like Opus Clip to free my time to just automatically create more content from long form videos. And number two, I'm direct outreach or messaging. Myself using emails, you can do whatever you need to do. And so if you're in marketing, you're just getting started, I recommend just focusing on number one, think what's your product? So this actually would apply if you're not in marketing. Well, what's your product? And what are the checklist actions I can do every day to get better, to improve the product, to make it so people want to buy it? And then number two, how can I connect people with the product? How can I connect eyeballs with the product? First, I think everyone should make content. So if you're not making content, start consistently making content, whether it's blogs, whether it's videos, podcasts. I like to do all of them, honestly, because content is free. It just takes time. And upload them to all the free social media platforms. And then number two, direct outreach. But, are you outreaching every day? Are you prospecting? And if not, what are the actions you need to take? What are the checklists you need to make to get better in that area? And so just to reiterate one more time, because I forget, my product is my skills. I'm going in GoHighLevel. I'm using automation and doing all these things to get better every day. And then attention/leads. I'm making content consistently, and I am direct message businesses consistently every day. And so that's all I got today. Make sure that you're doing the boring work, that you're doing the actions you need to be doing today, and stay great, be great, bye.